Japanese and learning Japanese, coming to Japan, literally changed my life. It obviously goes connected with being in Australia and the fact that I moved to Australia, but I think it deserves its own video because, well, look, actually, before I tell you that, look at this. Join me in, I wouldn't say this is countryside Japan, it's Nagoya. It's a small city, but I was just thinking as I'm going in my evening walk, take a look. I'm going to show you, I'll take you with me on this walk. And today, literally a few hours ago, I was talking to some Japanese teachers and to other teachers basically, even to other international students. And I was talking to them in Japanese. And I had some conversations today that if I didn't know Japanese, I couldn't have. Or to say it in a different way, the fact that I can speak Japanese has allowed me to do many things, whether it is meeting people, obviously traveling. But before I keep going, I don't want to make this video be like, oh, Japan is heaven on earth, it is the best place in the planet. I'm just fixing here the tripod. As much as I like Japan, obviously, this is not to say Japan is perfect. In fact, I have never lived in Japan. Let me correct that. I have lived in Japan, but not permanently for over a year. I have stayed in here for periods of 4.5 to 6 months, but I cannot come in and tell you, oh, I lived in Japan and this and that. But the key point here is how I feel that Japanese and learning Japanese has had an impact on me. Now it's different because before I was just learning for fun. It was a little bit like when we are learning English, right? And first it's like, okay, hi, how are you? My name is, I like to do this, I am from, let's say it is that more basic English. In my case with Japanese was like that. I think for a lot of people watching this, or for a lot of people who want to learn Japanese, they would be super happy if they can come to Japan and they can say, oh, konnichiwa, arigato. If they can order in Japanese, that would be ideal for them. But, I think in my case, obviously, it was that too. But then as time passed by, I started to slowly speak a bit more, slowly read more difficult materials. I started reading first like basic mangas. Then I read Doraemon, then I read Detective Conan, then I started reading like Dragon Ball, Naruto. Well, I didn't really read Naruto, but it's just to give you an example of the type of manga that I would read. Now I'm reading short stories or like light novels, and this is just to show you the progression. I went from just saying casually, I am from Venezuela and I live in Australia, to having a proper chat, obviously with mistakes, about Venezuelan politics in Japanese. It's not perfect, it is with mistakes. It's been a long process, but the point I'm trying to make is that as I started progressing in Japanese, my goal shifted. Then, a few years ago, before entering the Masters in Translation and Interpreting, I said to myself, look, maybe I should try and apply for that Masters in Japanese. And I had a entry test and I passed. I'm not gonna come up here and be like, oh, I'm amazing, I passed. It's probably like a giri pass, which basically means like a bare minimum pass. But the interesting thing is that then slowly, I became an English teacher. I started helping people with IELTS and PTE. And I started to feel and have the same or similar challenges to what my students had. But most importantly, learning Japanese taught me a lot of different things. And if I have to tell you a few in this video, it's going to be, actually I should show you 7-Eleven. But some of those things are, number one is discipline. It's just basically having that habit, building and keeping a habit, even when we don't see that much progress. Another thing, extremely important, it really opened up my mind because you have to, or I had to start looking at things in a different way. I had to stop being like, oh, in English we say this, in Spanish we say that. Japanese is a completely different language, and sometimes in some situations it's better to say less, in other situations it's better to say more, but even the way you say things is completely different. Just to give you one example that even till this day blows my mind. There is a phrase that is like sitting down in a rock for 3 years. And I mean, my Spanish or English brain, it's like, what is that trying to say? And then, like in Japanese, that means like perseverance. It means like not giving up. And normally coming from English or from Spanish, or maybe if you speak Portuguese, I don't know, I want to know if that happens in other languages too. But normally phrases like that are more like, never give up, believe in yourself. If you fall 8 times, stand up 9. I mean, in Japanese they also have that one. But my point is that the way they express themselves is different. So it really had to force me to think and to look at life in a different way. I literally was talking to a student about a week ago, and he was telling me about this person he's seen in Australia. And I was telling him, this is just to give you one example of how my way of looking at the world changed. He was telling me, oh, Emilio, I'm dating this person, but I don't know how, I think she wants to be very serious. And I said to him, look, man, I'm going to be the Japanese Emilio speaking now, okay? This is my Japanese side. Oh my God, look at that beautiful view. And I basically told him, look, you need to think about how serious you want to be, not maybe from the first date, but I told him in Japan, it is normal to ask people, hey, when do you want to have kids? When do you want to start a family? What are your intentions? And it's good if you want to know that, because you are being efficient, in the sense that if you are a girl and you are in your 30s, maybe you could be a guy as well. If you're in your 30s or mid-30s, or you're close to hitting 40, you don't want to be just casually dating. And it is normal to just ask people, wait, let me check, I don't want to get in trouble. You want to check and ask people if they want to start a family. And if they tell you no, then that's like a sign. Then you are saving time. You don't need to go on 10 dates, you don't need to begin, let's say, this intimate relationship with someone to then realize that what you want and what that person wants is different. And then when I said that to him, he looked at me so, not confused, but he was like, wow, Emilio, that is so serious. And I'm like, hey, look, I'm telling you, this is not Latino Emilio, this is Japanese Emilio. On top of that, learning Japanese, obviously, I have to mention my wife in this video. My wife is from Japan, and the fact that I learned Japanese up to a certain conversational level, I do think makes a big difference, because I didn't say to her when I first met her like, oh, konnichiwa, arigato, sushi. I said something very casual, which is not perfect, and I think that is something that when I first met her really got her attention. And maybe, I don't know, but maybe if I had said something more basic, maybe I wouldn't be telling you this part. But not only did I get to come to Japan a few times, actually, something that I still think it's crazy is that this study tour, the reason I'm filming now is because I am in a study tour. And I am here because I had a Japanese teacher from one university where I study to watch a presentation I did a few years ago, and then she thought, oh, Emilio-san, I know you're studying Japanese. Would you like to come to this program? So even things like this, like going on exchange, being able to meet incredible people, being able to see life a different way, being exposed to so many different things. Japan is not perfect. Let me start by telling you that. Obviously, coming from Venezuela, I cannot make a video saying that Japan is bad or anything. I would say that all countries have got good and bad things. But by learning Japanese, I learned so much more about the way they think, how they approach life. In a lot of things, we are very similar. In others, we are a bit different. By learning Japanese, I feel that I basically broadened my way of seeing the world. I learned about discipline, and it's just something that I am very thankful to young Emilio that I did it before. And it also changed my life in the sense that for people too. I have some friends that they introduce me as Emilio is the teacher who speaks Japanese. I guess it's because it's not something that common, or maybe because they know I'm really passionate about learning Japanese. But whatever the reason may be, this is something that I just wanted to share with you because I seriously can't believe that we finished all the activities today in the study tour and I get to explore Japan for a little bit. This is actually a very tight program, but it's just so interesting. I learned about empathy as well because ever since I became an English teacher, and this is not to, come in and be arrogant, but obviously English became a lot easier compared to how it used to be. One good thing about what I do and my job is the fact that I meet a lot of international students. So I don't like to be the Latino or the immigrant who pretends that, oh yeah, look, now I am Australian, I got my PR, I passed my IELTS and my PTE. By the way, if you want to study for IELTS or PTE with me, just check the info in the first link in the description. I also do natty translations. But just because I passed the tests, just because I became a teacher, just because I became Australian, it doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, now English is super easy and people who struggle is because they don't study and they're lazy. No. But learning Japanese, the fact that now I have to study for the JLPT test, which is similar to like IELTS or PTE in Japanese, it really brings me down to earth because I have to now keep polishing my skills, keep reviewing grammar, improving my vocabulary. I am basically doing things that I tell my students to do or that I show them and when we study together. So even that, empathy and learning to be patient. Sometimes we in this life now with AI, Netflix, this and that, we want everything now, today, hurry up, bam, bam, bam. If it doesn't download in 5 minutes, then it's not good. But hello, look at that, see? Even, I guess even that interaction. So the list goes on and on. I'll just wrap up this video by telling you that another really cool thing is the fact that with English you can learn a lot, you can meet a lot of people. But again, like I was telling you, I met people from Vietnam, from Taiwan. I met a lot of people from Japan that don't speak English. So even they told me, oh Emilio, I know you're an English teacher, let's only speak in Japanese, please, my English is bad. And I was like, no, it's all good. And I practiced with some of them. I obviously also told them, look, my Japanese is far from perfect. So we are like in that battle of politeness. But it's just simply a completely different way of looking at life. And I cannot imagine my life now without speaking Japanese, without the influence that Japanese had on me. It's a little bit like how I became a teacher. It's a little bit about how I became a translator. So it is just incredible. This is a bit of a different type of video. I hope you like it. Right now I'm in Japan, but I live in Australia and I help people with IELTS and PTE prep. If you are thinking, should I do IELTS or should I do PTE? Don't worry, in the video that is right here, I do a full analysis for the two tests and then I'll help you pick the exam that you want to take. And if you're unsure or if you want to study with me, just check the link in the description and get in touch. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.